What's up guys, today we are going to revisit the Galaxy S20 FE, and this is such a fantastic phone, and I've been playing around with it since it got the Android 13 update. Now that was the last major OS update for this device, and I still really like this device simply because it is trending on eBay for about 169 bucks. You can see 159 bucks for a locked T-Mobile version. So it's very cheap, and it's just going to get cheaper this year. So this is a very good alternative to anybody who has a, like a budget phone, like a $200 budget phone or a mid-range phone, and you actually want something a little bit more powerful. Now, like I said, Android 13 was the last major OS update for this phone. Now, Samsung did promise 3 years of security patches with this phone, so you will get security patches for a few more years, which is very nice. Now, I want to go ahead and get into the performance of this phone. With the Android 13 update, this phone definitely feels a lot smoother than it did on Android 12 for sure. It doesn't have that many animation lags. Like a lot of the animation lags and stuff like that is pretty much gone with this phone. So that's always been a weird thing with this phone, and I think it's mostly because this version is a 6 gig RAM version. But it seems like that is pretty much gone on here. So the phone is buttery smooth. One of the things that you'll really love about the S20 FE is the display is still a pretty much top tier display from Samsung. So it is a Super AMOLED display at 6.5 inches, and it is 120 Hz HDR10 Plus. It's completely flat as well too, and it's a 1080p panel, 407 for the PPI. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Playing games, just watching content on here still looks great till this day, and I have no issues with the display here. Really nothing outdated. You can say like the bezels are a little bit, I don't know, a little bit thicker on this phone compared to the newer ones, but honestly, I mean, I think it looks fine. It's just a beautiful panel still, years later. Beautiful panel still. Now also, let's go ahead and talk about something that I really like with this phone is the overall performance here. So like I said, we have the Snapdragon 865 chip on here, so it's actually still a very powerful phone. It's more powerful than a Galaxy A53 or a Galaxy A14 or something like that, which a lot of people go for, and those phones are the same price, if not a little bit more expensive. If you're a gamer, you can go ahead and get this phone. You get some pretty good Geekbench scores. You can see 882 on here and 3200 for the multi-core score, and basically you have SD card support on here, so that's also something that's really sweet. SD card support is on here, 128 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM, so you can load this up with a ton of storage. Like I said, it'll play games better than a mid-range phone, your average mid-range phone. PUBG, Call of Duty Mobile, I did a gaming test, a full gaming test if you guys want to check that out, but it does a fantastic job, guys, with playing games. So if you want to play games for something under 200 bucks, this is pretty awesome phone to consider. Now let's go ahead and touch on the design of the S20 FE. I think it still looks pretty good, pretty understated design. In my opinion, the whole S20 lineup was kind of like a little understated, little boring on Samsung's part, as far as like just not doing anything too exciting, as you can see. So it just kind of looks like a normal phone, right? This phone does have a plastic back, which again, the plastic back isn't too bad. So when you see a lot of phones with glass backs, people typically crack them a lot, and then it makes your resale value go down when you try to sell it. So that's why I said, if you're kind of clumsy, then these plastic phones, or the ones with the plastic backs, obviously can't crack a plastic bag that easy, right? You also have the metal rails on here as well too, so it doesn't feel like a completely cheap device. It still has somewhat of a premium feel to it as well, and I really like this color on here as well. It doesn't pick up fingerprints too easy, but you can get like smudges on here if your hands are kind of like greasy, but it's not like a super fingerprint magnet. So it just feels light and very comfortable to hold in the hand, guys. So that's something that I really like. And also, guys, you do have very fast fingerprint scanner on here as well. And also, remember, this is a flagship phone, so all of your flagship features are actually still on here. So Samsung wireless power sharing is on here, Samsung desktop support, secure folders is on here, Dolby Atmos. Basically everything that you would find in a flagship phone from Samsung is still on this phone. So like I said, you're getting flagship experience for under 200 bucks, which I think is pretty cool. You have some pretty good stereo speakers on this phone as well too. So I think the stereo speakers are good enough. You know, if you cover the bottom of the phone, the top speaker does put out a pretty good amount of volume, and then you also have a pretty decent vibration motor on this phone as well too. Now I think the highlight with this phone is actually still the camera, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Now the S20 FE, it has a triple camera setup, 12 megapixel standard, an 8 megapixel telephoto, and then that does 3x optical zoom, and then it goes up to 30 times digital zoom. And then you also have 4K 60 video, a 32 megapixel selfie cam, and 4K 60 shots on here. I think the photos still look really good, and you guys can let me know, what do you guys think? I think the photos look good, especially if you're outdoors and, you know, good lighting. I just think it takes some pretty still well detailed shots. I was just like looking at the images and I was like, man, this is still pretty good, right? I just can't see anybody, you know, having any complaints, especially for this price point. Dynamic range is really nice. Portrait shots come out really clean. Color science is pretty, you know, Samsung like, you know, very colorful, vibrant. It just looks great to me, guys. Like I said, the video is solid. So if you're buying this phone and you need a very dependable, you know, phone to take pictures with, I think this is pretty solid, guys. And I think I missed this one with my S23 Ultra comparison. I might do it just to show you guys the image quality still pretty much stands even next to that phone. As far as just taking, you know, just basic stills out in good lighting, you still get a great shot, and it does somewhat decent in low light. And lastly, how is the battery life? So the battery life is still pretty much the same on this phone. The battery life was never bad when I first got the phone. So it has a 4500 milliamp hour battery, and then you have 25 watt charging on here, wireless and reverse wireless charging. I'm still getting around 6 hours of screen on time with this phone, so it's definitely not bad at all. 6 hours is technically a full day. Like I said, the battery life is definitely decent on here. The phone doesn't actually heat up a lot too, since the Snapdragon 865 is just pretty efficient. So I just really like this phone, guys, and I get a lot of questions, people asking me, you know, is this still a good buy? I think there's a lot to like about this phone, especially if you don't want to go with the standard Galaxy S20 because of the curved displays. Like I said, this is completely flat, looks really nice, very durable because of the plastic back. And yeah, the cameras are pretty sweet on here as well too. It's very fast, and yeah, I just have no issues with this phone. It's just super cheap. It's gonna get cheaper as we go throughout the year. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.